This conference will now be recorded.
Ah, good. We're recording. That's a good thing. Um, so, so you just saw 3 videos on resonance and dissonance. Those 3 videos, by the way, were from a Transformational Leadership Council conference. You've probably heard me, if you've seen me speak at all at conventions or conferences, you've heard me talk about TLC, the Transformational Leadership Council, which is an organization started by Jack Canfield. This is why I go to these events, because we get these great ideas. And that was Mark McCurgow, who, by the way, Mark McCurgow is the author of a book that I've been recommending for many, many years called Solutions Focus. And Mark did this presentation with Paul Sheely and the guitar and Fred Johnson, who we've had at some of our conferences. And it's just amazing to me. I'm not a musician. I don't understand all of this, but it's amazing to me that when you can strum a guitar and hum at a certain tone, that you get this harmony. And if you go at a different resonant frequency, when you strum the guitar, it just goes flat. And you may have heard that if it was loud enough. But what was amazing, that if you do it at the same resonant frequency, that key, or again, I don't know music, but that tone just continues because it is in resonance. And that is really what Is It Working is about. It's about focusing on the harmony of an organization and a chapter, it's focusing on the resonance, not the dissonance. And it's so easy to focus on the dissonance of a chapter. So let's talk a little bit about how to do the Is It Working presentation in a chapter. So you don't need to show those videos to do this. All you need to do is what I'm going to describe now, and I've sent a Word file, so I'm happy. I don't know if it's been shared with you. I'm happy, though, if you share that Word file, Patty, with everyone. That's okay with me. So you're going to do a presentation. It would be helpful if you had a flip chart. If you don't have a flip chart, make sure to have a notepad in front of you. That's really important. You don't have to have a flip chart, but a flip chart would be helpful in doing this presentation. And you can do this presentation in probably 15 minutes. That's a little tight, but it's possible to do it in 15 minutes. And what you want to do is you want to just speak for a few minutes and then open it up with a very simple question. The question is BNI working for you? Is it working? Now, there are both visual and verbal cues when you ask this. You want to say, is it working? And maybe the first time you say, is it working for you? And the visual cue is this. And that's important because it clicks in people's minds as you're doing this exercise with them. So you say, is BNI working for you? Now, look, this is a little bit like stepping off a cliff, because the first time you do it, you will be scared. How do I know? I was scared because I was worried about what the answer would be. And the answer was exactly as I expected. There was one person who was the loudest and said, no, it's not working for me. Now, if that happens to you, I know this is hard to believe, but that's actually potentially a very good thing, because the turnaround of going from someone saying, no, it's not working for me, to where you end up is powerful, really powerful. So you ask, let me ask you a question. Is it working for you? Yes, no? And you're going to hear, you'll probably hear, and most of the times I did this, I heard a mixed bag. Some people said yes, some people said no, some people said sort of. So it's a mixed bag. But you might hear somebody loud say, no, it's not working for me. Okay. So what you need to do then, whatever answer you get, is you say the following. Anyone in the room, now don't deal with the one person who says, no, it's not working for me. Thank them very much for their feedback. And then ask a general question. Anyone in the room, could you share with me just one thing that is working for you? Just one. And then you want to write it down. You want to start writing it down. This is where if you have a flip chart, it's great because you can turn to the flip chart and you start writing it on the flip chart. If you don't have that, it's not critical. You take your notepad and you need to write this stuff down, or you have someone there with you that you've worked out to write this down in bullet points. Short, sweet bullet points. So if somebody starts to give a long dissertation, you tell them, I just want a sentence. Give me a sentence on what's working for you. And then the person writes that down. Now, here's the goal. Your goal in doing this exercise is to build momentum. So when somebody tells you what's working for you, somebody might say, well, yeah, this is kind of working for me. I'm getting referrals. Great. I get referrals. That's number one. Give me another one, someone else. And you say to somebody, you say to everybody, someone else, give me another one. And they might say something like, well, I've built relationships that will last a lifetime. Great. You've built relationships. That's number two. Anyone else? Give me another one. Someone might say, well, you know what? It's really brought out the best in me. I mean, I feel like I'm a better business person because of BNI. Okay, fantastic. That's number three. So what we have so far is I get referrals, relationships. It's brought out the best in me. Let me ask you again. Is it working? And now the second time you say it, you know, you're not going to get a lot, but it's the beginning of changing the response. Okay, let's do some more. Who else has some things, just one thing that's working for them? And you might get something like, well, you know what? My presentations are a lot better. I'm a much better speaker about my business than I was in the beginning. Great, that's another one. Give me more. I've made great connections in BNI. Fantastic. What else? I've improved my business skills in BNI. Okay, fantastic. What else? I've learned how to listen more proactively. I'm a better networker because of it. So you get all of this, and so you say again, you stop them and you say, have you guys heard all this? Have you heard all of these different things that are in fact working for you? So I kind of ask, here's the visual cue. This is the visual cue. You give the verbal cue. First, you give the visual. Is it working? Now you're going to start getting a little bit of a rumble going, well, yeah, it kind of is working for me, but keep going. Go a third round and say, what else? Just one person. And if you've already given one and you got another, it's okay. Now you want people to just start chiming in. I've had people, I remember somebody when I did this once said, you know what? They met on a Tuesday morning. And she said, you know what? Tuesdays are the best day of the week for me. And I said, why? She said, because of BNI. I start BNI on Tuesday morning. It's an awesome day. I love Tuesday mornings. So, okay, my meeting day is the best day of the week for me. What else? It helps me set marketing goals. What else? It gives me a support group to get feedback. And so you create this entire list. And here's where, if you have a flip chart, it's helpful because they can visually see this. And that visualization is powerful. But if you don't have it, what you want to do is you want to get that notepad and you want to hold it up. And you want to say, and this is all handwritten by somebody, you want to say, so look at all of the things you got. I didn't give any of this. This is all the stuff you gave me. You gave each other. You're getting referrals. Some of you're getting referrals. You're developing friendships. You're getting educational information. That's one of the other things. You've gained mentors. That's another one that I often get. It's like having a group of consultants. It helps my clients to have all of these contacts. It increases my connections and contacts. Some people say, I've overcome my shyness. You give whatever list they give. I'm giving you a couple of different lists here. Professional relationships, make great connections, improve my business skills, better listener. It's the best day of the week for me. Repeat everything they say and pause and take a deep breath and say to them again, so let me ask you, is this working for you? Or just is this working? That's the question at the end. Is this working? And you will almost always hear a different answer than what you started with. You're going to hear a lot more people, maybe a lot of people say, yeah, it's working. And you want to have a conversation with them about the bigger picture of BNI. That if you look at BNI in a one-dimensional way, it may or may not be working. But BNI and the benefits of BNI are multidimensional. There are many, many reasons why BNI can be incredibly powerful for a business person. And getting referrals is only one. Granted, it is the primary one for most members when they join, but it is in fact only one. There are many benefits of BNI, and there are many reasons why BNI may be working for members. And so this isn't working concept is a mindset reset. It's resetting people's expectations about what they might get out of BNI. The value here is that if people are only focused on the problems, then they're looking at what's wrong, what needs fixing. They're looking at blame. They love blame, and you're at fault. This isn't working because of you. They want control. They're looking at weaknesses. They're looking at complications. They're looking at the rules, and the rules are the reason that it's wrong. But if you can focus on what is working, that's a solutions focus. You're focused more on what's wanted. You're talking about the things that are working for some people. You're talking about progress. You're talking about influence. You're talking about collaboration, simplicity, actions. And so this is where the whole is it working concept gets people focused on resonance rather than dissonance. Actions really are something, they're seen as something, as starting something as opposed to just stopping something. So when people are talking about all of these things like education and helping their clients and overcoming shyness, these are solutions focused discussions rather than this isn't working, that isn't working. And it's so easy to get people focused on what's not working instead of what is working. And this is why I love this resonance video, or 3 videos. There's the one video that has dissonance, and then I forget what the second video is, and then the third video is about resonance. And if you have an opportunity, show those videos, but I'd show it at the end rather than at the beginning, just so that you can show people what they want to achieve is resonance within a chapter. And the way to achieve resonance is to talk about what is working and make it better, not to just focus on what isn't working. Because if all we do is focus on the problems, we become masters at the problems. But what we want is to be masters of the solutions. And in order to be masters of the solutions, we need to take a look at what's working and how we improve that. And even look at what's not working and talk about how to improve that. But first, you got to get them focusing on the fact that, hey, you know what? There's really a lot of things working here. And the BNI is a multi-dimensional organization, not just a one-dimension organization, which is just about referrals. So, Patty, I hope I tried to do that in about the length of time that you have to give a presentation at a chapter. At this point, I'd love to open it up for discussion and questions. The only dumb question is the unasked question, and so I'm happy to open it up.
No, that was fantastic.
Did I? Thank you. Did I pass the audition?
No, I think you did. I think you. So does somebody have a question for Ivan?
While you're thinking of the questions, I sent Patty a PowerPoint and I sent a Word file. You're welcome to use any of those things any way you want. The PowerPoint is not just about is it working, it's about resonance, including the is it working concept. It's probably too much to show at a chapter, but it's good educational content for you. So.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody have a?
I did.
Yes.
What did you do, Dr. Miser, with the person who said no?
So what did you do with the person who said no?
Oh, this is what thank you for that. What I love about that particular event was the same guy, or the same, it was a woman or a man, I forget, the same person who said, no, it's not working, actually said out loud, well, yeah, okay. If you think of it from that perspective, it's working for me. That was the beauty of this. And by the way, I did that before I ever did the presentation at a director's conference. I try to only introduce things that I've tried and experienced success. And that was such a dramatic turnaround that I was like, oh my God, I got to share this with directors. And I shared it with directors because that person completely changed their frame of reference for how BNI is working for them, because they were so focused on referrals and they'd been in for 6 months and they hadn't gotten much in the way of referrals. But when they started hearing people talk about being a better networker and being able to present what they do better and having a group of consultants working for them, the person said, yeah, okay, I get a lot of those. So yeah, it's working for me. And so it was so powerful to see that person out loud say, yeah, it's working.
I love it.
So, Dr. Meister, can you use this presentation to target the specific action that you want the chapter to go through? For example, they're lacking on their CEUs. Can you focus this presentation just on that?
When you focus this presentation just on one aspect of the chapter, like they're not entering CEUs or something like that.
So yeah, I hadn't thought about it. It's possible you could do that. What I recommend this presentation be used is for chapters that have completely gotten off the reservation. Okay. They're not following the program, or chapters that are, this is particularly valuable for chapters that are starting to go the wrong direction. The ones that are completely off the reservation, they're a little harder to bring around with this presentation, but the ones that are starting to, this is perfect for them. For CEUs, I've never really used it for just a one purpose problem. I think what would be better, and I could be wrong, and feel free to try this, and if it works, great, tell me. But I think what would be better is to have a discussion about the importance of lifelong learning. Education and training is, lifelong learning is one of the core values of BNI, and here's why it's important. And you kind of bring people in from focusing on why CEUs are important, because it's not the CEU that's important. It's lifelong learning that's important. And if you look at one of my articles, I talk about the recipe for success for BNI. And Patty, if you want to email me, I can send you a link to one of the articles or podcasts. There's a podcast on it, the recipe for success in BNI. And it's the quality of members, the quantity of members, and engagement. And engagement is really about education. And one of the things that I quote in there is a Psychology Today statistic that said that people who are more engaged in the organization are 40% more productive than those people who are not. And one of the most important ways to be engaged in BNI is lifelong learning, education, the podcasts, the training. And when members are engaged in that, then they're likely to be, this isn't our statistic, this is Psychology Today, they're likely to be 40% more productive. Who doesn't want a chapter to be 40% more productive? So here's another analogy I give when I'm talking to a chapter. I used to play sandlot football when I was a young man. And sandlot football was, whoever was the quarterback, the guy would say, okay, so you guys up in front, you block, and then somebody just run along and I'll pass the ball. That was the play. The play was not very organized. Well, as you might suspect, we weren't that good. Well, if you want to play any team sport, you have to have a play. You have to have plays. And everybody's got to be working off the same playbook. And if you're not working off the same playbook, it's sandlot football. So what you want is everyone working off the same playbook, which means everyone needs to be engaged in lifelong learning. And the way you track that is through CEUs. And so CEUs are not the end you want in mind. They're a way of measuring the end that you want in mind, which is engagement. That's the kind of presentation that I think might work better, but I could be wrong.
That's great, Ivan. Ivan, I remember, probably going back 20 years ago, and
Patty, you were like 20 then, right?
No, I was just out of high school, right? But I remember seeing you. I've seen you do it a couple different ways, and you had done it and shared that you went to a chapter and asking on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate your chapter? And somebody would say, oh, I don't know, a 5. And you go, a 5? Wow, that's amazing. And how come you didn't rate it a 4? And they go, well, and you go, what's working? And they say, well, the relationships. Well, that's terrific. Oh my God, and writing it. You were very animated. It was great.
It's a powerful technique. It's similar in a way to Is It Working? And by the way, I got this technique from the same guy you just saw that video on, Mark McCurgow. He gave me this concept. And here's how it works. It particularly works when you have somebody who's whining and complaining and they're very vocal. The chapter's upset and you're taking the brunt of it. So it might be whatever issue. Let's say they say to you, hey, we're not getting enough referrals. BNI's, it's not working the way we want. And it's not that you're doing the Is It Working presentation. You just show up and somebody's complaining. So here's the technique. Take notes. This is powerful stuff. It really is powerful. If someone says, I'm not getting enough referrals, what you do is you say to them, on a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is it? 10 being, I'm getting more referrals than I ever thought possible. 1 being, I'm not getting any referrals at all. Okay, that's the way you describe it. On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is it? 10 being, I'm getting more than I ever thought possible. 1 being, I'm not getting any at all. And listen to their answer. And here's what's really interesting about this. You'll almost always get a 4. If somebody's unhappy, it's crazy, but it's almost always a 4. Sometimes a 3, but generally it's a 4. So what you say when they give you their answer, whatever it is, a 4, they say, well, it's a 4. You say, write this down. You say, a 4. Why so high? And they'll look at you like you're crazy. They'll say, well, wait, that's low. That's not good. You said 1 is bad, right? I'm like, yeah. So why so high? They'll go, what do you mean? This is beautiful. And you say, well, you could have said a 3. You could have said a 2. You could have said a 1. What? Just tell me. And you say to the person who said, no, actually, I take it back. You don't say to them. You say to the whole room, anybody, let's assume anybody in the room, that it's a 4 in this chapter. Why would it be a 4 and not a 3 or a 2 or a 1? Can anybody tell me what is working that would make it at least that? And then people, it's like is it working? People start throwing stuff in. Well, I'm getting referrals. Well, it's improved my business skills. Well, it's this or it's that. I've even had people say during this, well, I wouldn't even give it a 4. I'd give it a 7. For me, it's working pretty well. And so, great, okay, well, you give it a 7, but let's just say it's a 4. What is working for you? And then you get all of these answers, just like you do with is it working? They're similar, but not quite the same. One you use when you go to present, the other is they're unloading on you. So you then say to them, okay. And again, you want to write all this stuff down. You don't need a flip chart, but you want to write it down and you say to them, okay. So the truth is, you want to know how to take this to a 10. You want to know how to take your chapter from a 4 to a 10. Let's assume it is a 4. You want to know how to take it from a 4 to a 10? You know how. There's nothing I would add or nothing significant that I would add to the list you just gave me. You guys just gave me a list of 10 things. You said this, and for each one of you, it's something different. Now, what would happen if you all got together and all worked on each of these things, which is working for some of you, but not all of you? The truth is, you have the answers. You don't even need me. This is so powerful. You don't even need me. I'm just here to help facilitate it. The truth is, you have all the answers. And so what I'd love to do with your leadership team is meet with them and take this list of 10 things that you just gave me and triage it. What are the top 3 that we need to focus on in a chapter? And then when you do those top 3, let's do the next 3 and then the next 3. And we'll get through this whole 10 so that you're all able to say that this isn't a 4, this is an 8 or a 9 or a 10, because you all know what it takes to do it. You're just not all doing it. And I can help you get there. That's such a powerful technique, and that works the best when they're mad at you and you're responding. By the way, just in case, nobody's ever done this to me except a director team who challenged me. It's the only time it's ever happened. It's never happened at a chapter. What if they say it's a 1? Then you can't say why so high. So I'll prepare you for that, just in case. It's never happened to me, and I've used this technique a bunch of times. The only time it happened was a director team who wanted to challenge me with, it's a 1. So here's what you say. It's a 1. Got it. Thank you very much. Let me get a few other opinions. What do you say it is? Oh, it's a 7 for you. Okay, well, that's great. What is it for you? It's a 3. Okay, what is it for you? A 5. Okay, so we have 1, 7, 3, 5. Would you guys agree that on average, it's about a 4?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, yeah, okay, so a 4. Why so high? Same thing. Technique works perfectly. And what you have them doing is they're focusing on solutions rather than problems. Because if you focus on the problems, it's a slippery slope. You know, they're a battering ram and you're the door. What you want to do is to facilitate this. It's these kinds of techniques that you can use at a chapter. When you walk out, they go, wow, it's awesome having the director here, because they always give us such great information and they leave pumped up and excited about what's possible rather than mad as hell at BNI.
That's awesome, Ivan. Whoa! That was really, really terrific. I so appreciate you doing this. It really is such a treat. And boy, I enjoyed it like the very first time I heard it. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. I love being able to talk to people. I love technology. It gives me a chance to talk to people from I'm at my home office in Austin, Texas, and it's great to be able to talk to all of you. Patty, you're such a fantastic director. Love you. Love what you've done there in Massachusetts. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Ivan. Thank you, Ivan. Say hi to Beth.
Thank you, Ivan.
I will. Thank you, guys. Bye.
This conference will now be recorded.
Maybe a chapter they would want to do that with, right? Tomorrow.